Over the last year, I've tested a ton of race day shoes, but what I haven't done is tested them back to back. And today, I'm gonna test 4 of my favorite race day shoes and let you know which one works best for me. The shoes I'll be testing today are the Nike Alphafly 3, the AsicsMetaspeedSkyParis, Saucony Endorphin Pro 3s, and the last shoe I'll be reviewing is the Adidas Pro 4. Out of all the shoes I'm reviewing, the only one that I don't have extensive experience running in is the Adidas Pro 4. The other shoes I've ran a minimum of about 70 miles, if not 200 plus miles. The main way I'm gonna review the shoes today is I'm gonna take all 4 of the shoes to a track and I'm gonna run 800 meters at around 5K pace, and then I'm hoping that that will jog my memory on the feel of the shoes, but I'm also wearing these shoes on a couple of my easy runs and relaxed runs to see what it feels like when you run a little bit slower. Between my easy runs and my track session, that will jog my memory on what will be the best race day shoe for me.
If I'm honest, I'm starting with what I think is my least favorite shoe, the Saucony Pro 3s. I've heard a lot of people love this shoe. To me, the rocker's a little bit too sharp. It's like very dramatic and it feels a little bit like I'm falling off a cliff with my stride. I know a lot of people run in this shoe even though it's been out for multiple years. So I should give it a fair shot. That's what I'm doing.
The Saucony Endorphin Pro 3 is honestly a lot better than I remembered. Right away, the first thing I noticed while running was how effortless it felt, which is exactly what you want in a marathon shoe. Marathons are all about conserving energy while holding your marathon pace, especially until that last 10K. If a shoe feels fast but destroys your leg along the way, that final stretch is going to be rough. And trust me, I've experienced a rough last 10K multiple times. But let's get back to the Pro 3. It felt soft-ish underfoot. What I felt the most is how much it helped me with my cadence. The rocker really puts you on your toes and you just sort of glide into your stride. And I really mean glide. You're not getting an aggressive push, but more of a smooth roll forward. For a lot of runners, that's gonna sound like a dream. But for me, not so much. I'm a little bit bigger of a guy, and I've noticed my bigger legs give me a lot of power. And for me, this shoe almost dampens the amount of power I produce in my stride. But if you're more of a cadence-driven runner, I think you'll love this shoe. The upper feels incredible, and honestly, this is probably my favorite tongue in any shoe. But in the end, it's just not for me.
Now I'm going to test out what kind of is like the gold standard in running shoes, and that is the Alphafly 3s. I've done 1 marathon in these. Well, I've done 2 marathons in them. 1 regular marathon and the other one was an Ironman. So I know these shoes very well. They're probably at around 120 miles total. So they're worn in, they're not brand new like some of the other shoes, but I should still be able to get that Alphafly feel.
This shoe is kind of the opposite of the Saucony Pro 3. Where one is smooth and steady, the Alphafly wants to launch you. It's got pop, it's got power, and you feel it immediately stepping into the shoe. The AirPods under the foot seriously push you forward. And yeah, it feels pretty sick, but it's not all sunshine and rainbows. Every time I run in this shoe, I swear I get tricked into going out too hard. It just makes me want to push the pace, and I fall for it every time. Like I mentioned earlier, marathons are all about conserving energy. And in this shoe, I want to set a 10K PR in the first 10K and not in the last one. But hey, maybe that says a lot more about me than it does about the shoe. But more on the shoe, the upper feels like a sock. It's super snug and it honestly never feels out of place. It just might be one of the comfiest marathon uppers I've ever ran in. Another bonus to the shoe is how wide the forefoot is. It really makes you feel stable when you're pushing off the front of your foot. If you're wanting a shoe that really helps you push the pace, the Alphafly 3 is the shoe for you. If you're like me and you can't contain yourself in such a fast shoe, I don't think this is the shoe for you when running a marathon. Now maybe in the 5K, 10K, but if you can control yourself, I really think you can run in this shoe anywhere from the 5K all the way to the 10K. But let's not talk about the Alphafly 3 too much, because the next shoe is the shoe that I have all of my PRs in. Anywhere from the marathon down to the 5K. This shoe has performed the best for me.
The MetaspeedSkyParis. So far I would say the best running shoe I've ever worn by far. Even though I do love the Alphaflys. These give me that Alphafly feeling, but feel a lot more natural in my stride, which I've noticed at the end of a race, having my natural stride makes it so I cramp a little less and also think about how I'm running less. In a marathon, I think matters.
First, I just want to say, I love this shoe. It's about the closest thing I've had to a perfect race day shoe. It's got pop, but not too much pop. For me, it's kind of like a lighter, more controlled Alphafly. It gives you that forward roll, but without making you feel like you need to go all out. But let's not just talk about the good things. There are some negatives to this shoe. I know this has nothing to do with racing, but the colors they've put out for this shoe, I think are the worst colors out of all the shoes I'm reviewing. They are over the top and just too neon and crazy. Okay, so let's get back to performance. The lockdown is almost there, but it's not quite perfect. It's either a little too loose or just a little bit too tight. And when you're racing, the last thing you want is to be thinking about your shoes. You really just want to focus on pace and just holding that pace for as long as you can. Also, after running these shoes back to back, I've got to admit, the SkyParis feels like it has a little bit less pop than the other shoes. And it's kind of weird because when I look at my watch, I'm holding the pace just as well as the other shoes, but it feels less springy. But maybe because it feels like my natural stride, all in all, it feels quick, just not overly springy. And honestly, that might be exactly why it works for me. If I'm being honest with myself, this is probably the shoe I should be running my next marathon in, but I've ran all my races recently in this shoe and I kind of want to change it up. And hopefully at the end of my marathon, I'm not regretting that decision. So now let's get to the new hotshot, the Adidas Pro 4. First off, can we just talk about how good this shoe looks? Take notes, Asics. Sometimes a simple colorway is better. Okay, but that's not what this is about. So if I'm being honest, I haven't logged a ton of miles on this shoe yet, but so far, I'm kind of loving it. This is easily the softest foam out of any race day shoe I've ever ran in. With that though, it's very responsive in how it rebounds from that squish. With this shoe not having that much of a drop, you feel very tall at the front of the shoe. And as a mid to 4 foot striker, I'm really liking that. The negative to that is if you're someone who likes that ground feel, this is definitely not the shoe for you. But if you want to pamper your legs with a ton of foam, this might be the one. But like I said, I can't give a true assessment on this shoe yet because I quite literally have ran maybe a mile in it. So the day this video is getting posted, I am logging my first long run in this shoe. If you're interested in knowing my opinion on this shoe, please like and subscribe, and that will encourage me for my next shoe review to be on this shoe. In the end, you really can't go wrong with any of these shoes. It's more on finding the shoe that fits your stride and fits the way you run. If you're more of a cadence runner, I really think the Saucony is the best shoe for you. Or maybe I would try something like the Edge Paris instead of the Sky Paris. But if you're more of a power runner like me, the Alphafly is a great shoe, the Sky Paris is a great shoe, and maybe the Pro 4 is a great shoe. If this video helped you determine which shoe you should buy next, please like and subscribe, and see you next time.